Napoleon was exiled to Elba in 1814, but he wouldn't stay long. Less than a year later, he escaped, landing in southern France with a handful of men. Within weeks, he had reclaimed the throne. Europe's powers, gathered at the Congress of Vienna, declared him an outlaw. They assembled massive armies to crush him once and for all. Napoleon knew he had to strike fast before the Allied forces could unite. He marched into Belgium to confront the Anglo-Allied and Prussian armies. On June 7, 1815, near the village of Waterloo, the fate of Europe hung in the balance. Napoleon faced the Duke of Wellington. The battle raged all day. French assaults repeatedly failed against Wellington's defensive positions. Both sides suffered heavy casualties. But what if Marshal Grouchy, sent to block the Prussians, had instead marched to the sound of the guns? His 30,000 men could have turned the tide. Imagine the Prussians delayed by a rearguard action or a flooded road. Without their arrival, Wellington's army would be overwhelmed by sheer numbers. In this alternate history, the Imperial Guard advances at dusk, smashing through the British center. Wellington's line breaks. The Duke retreats in chaos. Napoleon is victorious. The news spreads like wildfire across Europe. Kings and emperors tremble. The old order is shattered. An armistice is signed. Napoleon dictates terms. France dominates Europe. The Congress of Vienna is undone. Britain is isolated and humiliated. The Bourbon monarchy is permanently overthrown. Napoleon's empire stretches from Spain to Poland. The world has changed forever. Victory at Waterloo transforms Napoleon from fugitive to master of Europe in a single stroke. He returns to Paris not as a defeated emperor, but as a conquering hero. The first act of consolidation is ruthless. Royalists who plotted against him face swift execution. Their estates are confiscated to fund the new regime. Napoleon purges the army of Bourbon loyalists. He promotes battle-hardened veterans from Waterloo, forging a grande army loyal only to him. The continental system is now enforced with an iron fist. Every European port is closed to British ships. Smugglers are hanged publicly as a warning. Russia and Austria, defeated in earlier campaigns, are forced into a humiliating alliance. Their armies are reduced, and they must pay massive indemnities to France. Prussia, the architect of Napoleon's near defeat, is dismembered. Its eastern provinces are given to Russia, its western lands to a new French puppet state. Spain and Portugal become French satellites. The Spanish royal family is restored under Napoleon's brother Joseph, but real power lies with French governors. Italy is unified under French control. Napoleon crowns himself King of Italy in Milan. The Papal States are annexed, and the Pope is taken prisoner. We upload videos like this every day. Subscribe so you don't miss out. Television. Resistance movements are crushed with brutal efficiency. In Spain, guerrillas are hunted down. In Tyrol, Andreas Hofer's rebellion is quelled in blood. A massive military buildup begins along all borders. Fortresses are constructed, arsenals stocked, and conscription expanded to unprecedented levels. Britain's naval supremacy is challenged. French, Spanish, and Dutch fleets combine into a single armada. The Channel is fortified with coastal batteries. Economic warfare intensifies. British goods are burned in public squares. French industry booms as it fills the void left by British products. Napoleon imposes the Napoleonic Code across all conquered territories. Feudal privileges are abolished. But so is freedom of speech. Secret police monitor every word. Europe holds its breath. The old order is shattered. Napoleon stands unchallenged. But his empire rests on bayonets and fear. How long can it last? Napoleon's victory at Waterloo didn't just change borders. It rewrote the entire future of human progress. Britain's industrial revolution stalled. The blockade cut off coal and iron imports. Factories fell silent. France seized the opportunity. Paris became the workshop of the world, churning out steam engines and textiles. Nationalism. the force that would tear Europe apart, was crushed. French culture became the universal standard. The Congress of Vienna never happened. No balance of power meant no stable peace for decades. German unification under Prussia vanished. The German states remained a patchwork of French puppets. Italy's Risorgimento never ignited. The peninsula stayed under French influence. Its dreams deferred. Colonial empires reshaped. France reclaimed Louisiana, planting its flag in the heart of North America. Britain, humiliated, turned inward. It focused on India and Canada, fortifying its remaining dominions. Science and art flourished in Paris. The Louvre overflowed with treasures from conquered lands. The Napoleonic Code spread like wildfire. It became the legal foundation for half of Europe. AI changes everything fast. Instead of falling behind, you can discover new AI business ideas at Horizon Radar. Link in description. Without the Congress of Vienna, the 19th century became a French century. No rival superpower emerged. Nationalist revolts were crushed before they could spark. The old empires survived, but under French hegemony. In the end, one battle didn't just change history, created an entirely different world. By the 1840s, Napoleon I was gone. His empire, however, remained. The question was, who would inherit it? His son, Napoleon II, was young and sickly. The Bonapartist dynasty faced its first real test. Ambitious rivals circled like vultures. A regency council took control, but power struggles erupted immediately. The empire's stability hung by a thread. Revolts broke out in the German states. Nationalism, long suppressed, began to stir. French troops crushed each uprising with brutal force. Despite the chaos, the Bonapartist line endured. Napoleon III emerged as a strong leader. He promised to restore the empire's glory. Under his rule, France created a new European order. It was a union of client states, all loyal to Paris. The old balance of power was dead. This French-dominated union prevented any major war for decades. There was no World War I as we know it. Alliances shifted, but France remained supreme. Russia tried to expand southward, but a French-led coalition quickly checked their advance. The Tsar's ambitions were crushed in the Crimea. Across the Atlantic, America watched nervously. The Monroe Doctrine became meaningless. French influence grew in the Americas once again. Decolonization happened much later. European powers held onto their empires longer. The scramble for Africa was a French-led affair. Technological progress accelerated under French patronage. The Industrial Revolution centered on Paris. Trains, telegraphs, and steel mills spread across Europe. French became the global language of diplomacy and culture. Every educated person spoke it. Paris was the undisputed capital of the world. By the 20th century, the world had one superpower, France. But was it truly stable? Revolts simmered beneath the surface. The lesson is clear. One battle can change everything. Waterloo was not just a defeat. It was the pivot on which history turned. We live in a world shaped by that day. But in this alternate timeline, Napoleon's victory created a very different modern age. The fragility of history is humbling. Hi everyone. Quick reminder. Subscribe for high-quality daily content. Sparkle's next episode. A plot twist you won't expect. Subscribe now. Face screaming in fear.